Hello and welcome to the All About Pigeons podcast. I'm Phil and we got Chris. Today we're going to talk about pigeons as pets, like house pets. And I'll let Chris get into it because I think he has 3 more house pet pigeons than I do.
Yeah. Yes, I have 2 or 3. I definitely have 2 or 3.
I'm sorry, I meant 23.
Something like that. I'm not even going to go there. I might sound like the crazy cat lady if I told you how many I really had.
But you did start off with as, like when you first got your first pigeon, it was straight up a house pet, right?
100%. 100%. We were looking for first time we ever considered pigeons. We were wandering through a local store down here. I won't mention the name because I'll probably drop a bomb on them later. But she saw this Budapest, this big bug-eyed bird, and or a little bird with big bug eyes, and she said, "Man, I like that bird a lot." And I said, "Are you kidding me? That's a pigeon." You know, that's what I was thinking. I didn't think nothing of them. It's a pigeon, man. Come on, nobody really actually keeps pigeons, do they? Well, I was wrong. I was way wrong. There are a lot more house pigeons than I thought. And they turned out to be pretty cool. They really did.
Yeah, and I mean, really, it goes all the way back, pigeons, you know. I mean, we got a long history with them, and as long as there's written history, there's talks about people keeping pigeons in their house as pets. I mean, they've been doing that for a long time, but it has, like, you've probably noticed it too at some of the club shows we've gone to where it's not just racer guys and fancy bird guys. There's a lot of people coming to these club shows that are people who like pigeons for pets. Yeah, just as pets.
Yep.
There's Facebook group pages and
the pigeons themselves.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, that's, you know, they're you get the pigeon bug and, you know, it's a rabbit. I mean, there's one Facebook group I like, I mean, there's a couple of them that are specific for pigeons as pets, and, you know, Palomacy is a big rescue one that does rehoming of pigeons. There's a couple, and there's one in Michigan, and, you know, even the idea of, you know, you can rescue a pigeon, like you can go and, you know, rescue a dog from a shelter or anything like that. So people, these rescue pigeons as pets, which is cool. I mean, they do make good pets, and what I've noticed is that you don't even have to. Of course, it's always better if you can get them young and hand feed them and really get that taming and bonding. But, you know, you see people getting older pigeons, and within no time, you know, they come around and, you know, they're a great, really affectionate pet to have around.
Yeah, they know who feeds them, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As long as you get a little bit of hands-on every day, it doesn't take too long. They come right around.
Yeah.
Even if they don't. Even if they're not like friendly, tame, they'll always greet you looking for that tasty morsel.
Yeah. Well, geez, feed is the almost all animals. I mean, that's, you know, you can, you know, racing the pigeons, you know, so much of that is based on feed. I mean, you can really drive a creature to do all kinds of things for feed, and
that's,
you know, yeah. On the Facebook group, you know, I'll see a lot of times where people will get an older bird and they'll ask about, how can I get this bird to be more affectionate? And it's through hand feeding, you know.
Yeah.
Agree enough that it will go up to you, even if it kind of thinks you might be a threat. And then, you know, it'll finally start to realize that you're not a threat and that you're actually feed. And, you know, that's when everything really changes. And
like your birds that you have, those 2 that came from my house.
Yeah.
Those come from an absolutely wild flock of pigeons.
Yeah, completely feral in that term, like. And I got it trained where there's no feeder in that loft. They got a waterer, and they got nestables, and don't get me wrong, it's a really nice loft, but there's no feeder. I'm the feeder, or I'll send my kids in there with handfuls of, you know, the food, and every time you walk in there, man, they're all over you. You know, it's pretty cool. It's the you turn into the pigeon lady from Home Alone 2. Real quick.
That was the first thing that came to my mind. Great movie.
The image, that's the image. That's what it's like, you know. But it's really cool. I mean, that's I'm not gonna be these birds, you know. They're ferals. they might not be in my house, but they're a pet for enjoyment and pleasure. I'll spend a lot of time out in that loft reading and just hanging out with the birds.
Right.
And it's not breaking the bank. The other thing I was going to say is these are really cheap pets to have. They
eat a tablespoon a day, maybe a little bit more.
That's what does a dog go through? I mean, it's it's not going to break your bank feeding these things. And the really cool thing about as a house pet is, and I know you've got kids that have been exposed to this and all the cool stuff that they can learn from it. I mean, you can teach your kids animal husbandry, the same stuff that a kid growing up on some big ranch with horses and cows. You can teach your kids this with a small cage inside of an apartment. You don't need a bunch. You get all the cool benefits of it.
Certainly, yeah. It has been a good. So I have two teenage daughters. One of them's fixing to start driving, and she told me she wanted to start driving, and she wanted me to show her how to drive. She's 15 now, and one of the things was I want to make sure you're responsible enough to be able to operate this, to have responsibility. So right. I told her, I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a shot. I got probably 100 pigeons. So what I did was I gave her a chore. She feeds and waters every morning, and part of that is that she's got to she cleans waters every day. If she doesn't, if she doesn't take care of the animals, she gets a little disciplined for that. That's part of she gets a little guidance counseling, so to speak. But overall, she does a very good job. And the birds have thrived because of it. The clean water and that kind of stuff. They've really done good, but it's good for young people. And they're a rather docile bird for children and stuff like that to handle. They really can't hurt you. You get slapped in the eye maybe with a stray feather. That one was kind of rough. I did shed some blood that one time.
I was just thinking about that, man. At that show, you got, that
was my pet bird. That's the one that I started with, and she was just like I was her jungle gym. Scratched me.
Yeah, wasn't that one you got like she came in for a landing and hit you in the face or something because you had a cut on your cheek area?
Yeah, she was trying to land on my shoulder, and she ended up just crawling up the side of my face and sitting on my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely. I mean, when my she's 3 now, but when she was 2, my 2-year-old, man, she would hold. She loved. All my kids love holding the babies. Like all babies are cute, and I think you got to be a pigeon lover to really recognize the beauty in a baby pigeon. At first, I think it kind of scares some people, but they love holding them. And my 2-year-old is just, hold baby pigeon. She loves holding them, and all my kids love holding them, which is great because then that also, it gets all your birds used to being handled and tame, and it's cool when a bird kind of bonds. Like we had a roller pigeon of all breeds that bonded with her, and that was our house pigeon for a long time. And like I said before, she could carry that thing by its foot, and it would just be happy to be held by her. Like that bird loved her.
It just thought that was the routine.
Yeah, yep, yeah. Because kids are kids, man. Like,
sure.
They're still learning on how to pin their feet back and hold the bird right and stuff. And but I mean, I bet any of my kids would be able to hold one of my racers, and because my racers are also pretty calm because they've been handled a lot and stuff. And even though they're muscular birds and can probably get out of your hand easily if they wanted to, a 3-year-old can't really control that much. But these are really smart animals. I mean, geez, we could do a whole talk just about all the different studies that have been done on pigeons. I mean, it's incredible. Some of the stuff I've read about, they'll show pictures of lungs with cancer and lungs without cancer, and the birds can find the ones with cancer, and even like one-to-one copied art, and they can pick out the original Monet or original Picasso compared to one that was fake. Now a lot of the
I can't do. That's superhuman.
oh, right. I mean, if it was a feed-based program for me, I'd starve. But yeah, they able to figure that stuff out. They're one of the few creatures that can recognize themselves in a mirror, compared to there's not really many animals that can do that. So they definitely have an awareness about them, and I think that's like really important when it comes to picking a pet. You kind of want something that you can engage with and play with, and they're a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
you got those croppers, and I know that they're really into the vocal stuff, and I've seen a lot of the guys you can just get them going by making the sounds and talking to them, and they get talking back at you. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, those Vorberg shieldcroppers, you can coo at them and they'll come back at you.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're the most friendly pigeons we've got, but they're really neat and they'll interact with you. Joe's got a bunch of them. That's where I got them from, and he can coo at them. And he's got one little hen that jumps right up on the perch and will sit there and chatter back at him. It's
awesome.
Neat. It's really cool. The best ones that I've got for that are probably going to be the old frills, the satinets.
As pets, yeah.
They were all the stock that I have now. Was all raised by hand.
Okay.
So they're awful friendly, very tame. You can hold them like an ice cream cone,
Yeah.
They don't mind being handled improperly. They just kind of take it. Yeah.
That's what they know too. I mean, I will say I always love kind of picking one bird out of the babies and just putting all my time into one bird. I had a really cool old German owl, a red shield. His name was Audubon, and I hand raised that thing. And from like the first day he was born, I'd hold him a little bit every day, and then as he got older, I would just throw him on my shoulder and go do some stuff in the garden or go work outside. And and he was always used to that. And he would, we'd be outside. I remember playing bocce ball, and he'd be on my hat and he'd fly around and he'd come right back and just chill. It's super cool when you can get that opportunity to hand raise from a baby. But I mean, like I said before, you can get a older bird with kind of a checkered past, and they'll come around. It's not like this pigeon bit somebody, so we got to put it down. It's never going to be the same. It's
right.
They can really do that. But like you're saying about the breeds too, and we had was a Birmingham roller. I mean, that's an athletic bird.
Right.
You would be really twitchy and everything, but it was a great house pet. Like, it really did a good job. I've always been curious about like the Hungarian house pigeon. I don't know too much about the history on that. If they really were like their name would say out, and I would imagine that's what it is. But like you were talking about the classic frills as house pigeons, as pets in that sense. Is it because their temperament?
Yeah, in my opinion, that's one of the best suited breeds I've found for a pet. Now the owls you mentioned, they're pretty cool too. I've got a few here and I really like them. But the frills, they have a personality that's very specific to that breed. And if you look at the description for them, I can't remember what the term was that they used, but it's like a very outgoing. It's got a person. It's like an outgoing cat.
Okay.
Once it claims you, you are theirs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just the personality of them is wonderful, and but they can be tough to keep around other birds.
Okay.
They're kind of solitary, if I got to be honest.
I mean, that kind of sounds like more of the cat trait. Right.
Yeah, they're kind of solitary. They can, any pigeon can be aggressive, really, I think.
Yeah.
The ones that I haven't seen show any aggression are them Gansons so far. They're
Oh, okay.
seeming to be bottom of the totem pole.
Huh.
They're just real tame, real docile kind of birds. They're, their eyes are big. They're built funny, and they're more like they're like a Persian cat.
Okay.
They're
They got that beauty.
yeah, it's the beauty, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's I love all the different breeds. I mean, I've heard so many different numbers, man. I watched a documentary the other day, really cool one, Share the Blue Sky, and they were in Germany at the world's largest pigeon museum, and that guy was saying that there's over 2,000. Now, if we're talking pygmy versions of regular versions, and then colors, and then not to mention all the weird breeds that we probably don't know about, like they're saying, like there could be a village in some deep mountains in China working on what they consider to be a beautiful pigeon that we've never even seen that breed before. So coming back to it, just the fact that there's so many different breeds, if you're kind of getting into it new and you're looking for a pet, you can really pick a cool bird. I mean, whether it's looks or whatever you want to do, and train that thing up and do the whole pirate thing, man. Have that bird on your shoulder and really have fun with it.
Yeah, that's it's kind of fun to be able to take a bird outside that can fly away. It has every opportunity to go, and it's so attached to you, it's become so bonded to you that it doesn't go.
Yeah.
Even I've had them take off, they'll fly around and they'll follow me, and sit on top of the house wherever I'm standing.
Yeah, your little gargoyles, nice.
But that's super neat once you've bonded with, and that's another thing that I think is important to know. Your first pigeon is going to be the easiest one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's going to be once they've paired off because they bond with you, and once they pair off with a bird of the opposite sex, that changes things a little.
Yeah, that's a different dynamic for sure.
Yeah, I really have discouraged breeding in some of my birds because they're not friendly like they used to be.
Yeah.
I sent a pair of hand-raised birds to somebody else's house because I didn't like the way they were responding to me after they started breeding. But that's a whole other deal. But that's one thing that I think everybody should know. If you intend to get more than one, it's gonna change.
Yeah. So right now we have a Central Asian tumbler. I mean, it was given to my son. We met with a really cool guy down in Phoenix who flies these things, and he gave one, I think it was about a 1-year-old hen, to my son. And this came out of a fly loft that he was flying. These birds are athletes, and I'm sure that this guy handled his birds and stuff, but not like to the extent that that bird gets handled now. And it was a little bit flighty at first, never aggressive or anything, but I guarantee you that we couldn't do the things with it now that we could. Like now we can hold that bird on our finger and it'll just sit there all day, put it on your shoulder, whatever. It's super chill. I mean, it's totally a pet now, and it really adapted well. I know we kind of talked about this before, but seeing as how we both have house pigeons, what would you say is the best thing and the worst thing about a pigeon as a house pet?
Well, if we're not talking about economics, I think they're I don't know. It's probably one of the easiest house pets I've ever had. Dogs take a lot of work. They can be good if you don't have a ton of time to focus on them. and they're kind of forgiving. They, you know, if you take a week where you're, like, say I'm working early and I'm just putting feed to them and I don't ever stop and say hi to them, they're still just as happy with me when I come back and say hi to them. You know,
Yeah.
And that's super cool. A dog and a cat, they can be hateful. You know,
Yeah.
they,
The cat hold a grudge.
well, yeah, and a dog will crap in your shoe. A pigeon will crap on everything you love.
Yep.
That's my most favorite and my least favorite part of them, right there in a nutshell.
Yeah. The droppings, you know, they'll just, you know, wherever. I built a cheap little perch out of scrap wood, and I have it set up so that way I can tear off 2 paper towels and kind of put a hole through that perforated area in the middle, you know,
Uh huh.
and then I lay that down on the bottom of the perch. And so when it chills on the perch, when I'm done, I just pull that paper towel out, you know, and it's all clean. But yeah, dude, it's you know, they've of course, you know, they've got the diapers that you can put on them, and they make them with like little tuxedos and stuff, and you know, it's really cool. And I think I told you about that. There was somebody on one of those Pigeons as Pets Facebook group talking about toilet training their pigeons, and I was really interested in that. They got the wits about doing it. You know, it's just a matter of training them and figuring out a way to, you know, do it with feet so that way, you know, it sticks. But that's the one thing I would say is the poop and the molt. You know, during the molt season, man, I walk in because our cage is it's actually in the kitchen area underneath the fridge. And I walk in there, man, it looks like someone had a pillow fight. There'll be like the tiny little feathers everywhere. And
Yeah.
so that, you know, and that doesn't happen all the time. You know, that's the molt or whatever. But I mean, that would be the downfall of it. But yeah, the upside of it is that same here. You know, I mean, I've, you know, had dogs and cats in the house, and we've had reptiles and stuff too. But this is definitely the easiest and one of the most enjoyable. I mean, it really is cool to just hang out with that bird, you know, while you got a movie on or something, or while you're doing stuff, just let it hang out next to you. Because they got big personalities, man. I love with our little tumbler, you know, just making the coo sounds at it and everything else, and you know, hearing the kids try to make pigeon sounds. Oh, that's funny. You know what they think a pigeon sounds like, and their imitation of it is really cute. But it's definitely a really good animal to have as a house pet, I think.
Well, I think I'm pulling a I'm pulling a roller agenda here. I've been in the car for a while. But I think, you know, one thing about it is if you don't want them to crap almost everywhere, they do like to pick a spot. If you can set them up with perches and stuff where they got a spot where they feel comfortable and that kind of stuff, that tends to help a lot. They don't wander around so often. And the only time I found that they really like to wander around on the floor is if they're hungry.
Yeah, if they're looking for something. Yeah.
Yeah. Or they haven't, you know, they're not close to their water bowl or something, they'll go exploring.
Yeah. That's interesting. I actually, I remember there was a real long thread when this person posted on one of those Facebook groups for the pets was about what kind of cage. And then a lot of people were like, my pigeon isn't even in a cage. My pigeon has a perch here, food and water next to that perch, and man, the house is their own. And like you're saying, most of their droppings, you know, they put like newspapers and stuff down. It's up in that one spot. Like I got this tiny little like bathroom size window upstairs, and it's got a pretty steep ledge and everything around it. So the pigeons love hanging out up there. You know, that's always been like the go-to spot. And you know, you got a good view, you got fresh air, sunlight, and you know, it's a bird thing, so they like to be up high too.
Yeah, my birds like to be by the window.
Yep.
They like to sit by the windowsill. Some of them haven't been outside because they're just not that kind of a bird. That's one thing about fancy pigeons. Some of them can't fly.
Yeah. A lot of breeds.
Are good enough to defend themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like that Modena I had. Now he was cool. He could have been a really awesome pet. But they just stand around like a little statue. They do nothing. And if it got
Yeah.
loose outside, it'd be good. But some of them, not all pigeons are created equal. They have changed them a lot.
Oh, it's
varieties.
incredible when you think about the rock dove, the origin, just that blue bar looking bird. And, you look at some of these Jacobins and, I mean, man, English magpie, I mean, just the Hungarian house pigeon, that pigeon is huge. And then you get those Valencias, I think, those really small ones. I mean, everywhere in between, those birds just, we've really created or the parlor rollers, totally flightless bird. So, I mean, it's pretty incredible the road that they've come thanks to humans breeding. But
yeah,
it's
changed. I mean, you look at the powders; it doesn't even look like. I'll tell you, a satinette. That reminds me of a little tiny cockatoo.
Yeah, they totally got a parrot look.
Yeah, it looks like and I've had people come over and I show them my pigeon, because I'm proud of her. She's cute.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "What? That's a pigeon for real?" And then I've got the ASRs.
Yeah.
They look like, they look like a homing pigeon that went through Chernobyl or something. They're.
Oh man, yeah.
They're
kind of like they've been working out in the yard. They got some yokeness to them.
Yeah, they're super stout and that kind of stuff. But it's called a show racer. It doesn't fly very good.
Right.
But some of those birds are awesome for pets, because if a guy doesn't necessarily keep them on a routine, or have them trained to recall, you might want to go chase him down. If you do that with a homing pigeon or a feral pigeon or any other good flyer, that could end up with some heartbreak.
Yeah, and that kind of makes me, I want to talk about this too, the culling aspect. There's a lot of, with racing, and anytime competition gets involved, obviously people are going to take it seriously, and you should, especially, I mean, when it comes to, taking care of your birds and stuff. So culling doesn't mean killing. It just means removing from your flock. And right. So, a lot of these guys will take birds out because, let's say, bad colors or whatever, if it didn't look right even as a baby. And these pigeons can go right into someone's house as a great pet. It's if you're not looking to get into the heavy showing of it or anything like that, if you're really just looking for a pet pigeon, show up to club meetings and stuff and talk to some of these guys. And I'm sure that if you talk to some serious competitive, because they're always going to be selecting their birds, and they're always going to be getting rid of what they don't consider to be that standard that they're looking for. And a pigeon,
absolutely,
yeah.
Well, that's the thing about any kind, all that stuff. When you're producing that kind of stuff, not everything is perfect. Not everything. You can't. Like the what is it? So I posted a satinette up. Unfortunately, my satinettes are not color correct. They're never going to be showbirds, but I still think they're beautiful birds, and they make wonderful pets. So I bred a couple of them, and when I posted it up, it was I posted it up as a pet quality bird. This bird is not correct for show, but it will make somebody a fantastic pet.
Yeah.
And those are still desirable too. Not everybody wants to show. Heck, I even had those warbirds. They're probably never gonna. I mean, I might get lucky and get one that's got the right colors and stuff.
Oh yeah, you never know. Genetics are wild.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's absolutely possible, but that's
those birds are not specimens that you would choose for a breeding program. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I could get a blackbird out of those. You never know. It could come out any color because that's just how the colors work. But awesome pets.
For sure.
Don't be afraid to grab up something that's might not be show quality as long as it's healthy. My two biggest things are condition and quality.
Yeah.
Overall health. It's got to be there. They got to be healthy. I won't take the risk of having a shabby.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially if you got other birds at home, you don't want to risk getting a virus or anything like that coming through your loft. I mean,
that's exactly it.
That's not worth it. It isn't. I've, in some of these rescues, I will say I've noticed a pretty big theme among a lot of rescues. Like there's a couple in Cali, but the one in Southern Cali I've looked at before, they get a lot of these. I mean, it's sad, but it's kind of funny, but someone must have done like a white bird release with king pigeons because they had a whole bunch of king pigeons, and I'm guessing that these guys just bought a bunch and just released them or whatever. But, that's pretty sad, honestly. But like those birds, they might not be in good health, but that's just because they're physically wasted. They'll come back from that. You definitely don't want someone to, hey, I got a free bird. It's coughing and sneezing and, it's actively sick. That's, if you only got one bird and you can take the time to nurse it back, then, hey, man, congratulations. That's awesome. Of course, but yeah, you really got to be careful about bringing other birds in if you have other birds already at your place. But I personally like, kind of one bird to one person and, everyone kind of gets that bond with each one. And because the dynamic changes a lot, birds are totally social. And, you bring another one in and it'll change it just like people,
Yeah. And yeah, because what happens is they pair off, they bond to you. Like that one first one I got, she was in love with me. She was laying eggs. She'd snuggle with me for a day or two and then she'd go lay eggs.
Yeah.
It was wild. And I was talking to a friend and he said, "Yep, that bird loves you. You're gonna be the daddy." I said, "Well, that's kind of weird. Let's go get her a boyfriend."
Oh, I mean that roller I told you about, man. He would do his dance. I'd put him up on the counter, and my little girl V, man, she'd sit up on the counter while I'm cooking, and he's doing the dance for her. He was in love with her. It was sweet, And yeah, pigeons are proud of their dance, man. That's they take that serious. But well, we've been talking for a while about pigeons as pets, and we could keep going down different rabbit holes with it. But I think we covered a lot of pretty good points. And man, thanks for taking the time today and chatting it up with me about this. And we'll have to go down another rabbit hole with this again.
For sure. Next time we're gonna talk about why pigeons are smarter than people, right?
Oh, geez, that'll be a pretty quick one. What I mean,
it'd be easy.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. All right, man. Well, thanks, Chris, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, later, bud.